So to possibly alleviate their fears, or perhaps not, I'm joined now by Clare Dunne, CEO of the Irish Travel Agents Association. Clare, firstly, when do you think it is likely that we know what's going to happen here in terms of whether or not there will be a strike?
Good morning, Ciara. How are you? Unfortunately, that is part of the problem. We don't know. We expect the result of the ballot later today. We don't expect any change in the result of the ballot. So we would expect that everything will be as it was. No strike has actually been announced, as you know, yet. And we don't know the form of any industrial action that they're going to take. It could be an all-out strike. It could be a day here, a day there. It could be a work to rule. So we don't know yet. And that's, of course, adding to the stress and the worry of people, as you say, who have booked their holidays months, in some cases up to a year ago, and they're sitting there today wondering, are they going to go on their holidays?
And Clare, what rights do people have, most particularly because we know that Aer Lingus has asked for 15 days notice. So if a strike is declared 15 days away from now, and so flights are now being cancelled, if that is to happen, what rights do people have who are caught up in that?
Unfortunately, if Aer Lingus do manage to give them more than 2 weeks notice of cancellation, they're not entitled to compensation. Now, they will be entitled, obviously, to a refund or a rerouting, but they wouldn't be entitled to compensation for that. Now, some travel insurance policies do have travel disruption cover and cover for industrial action. So we would advise people to have a look at their travel insurance and see have they got those covers in place. Unfortunately, if they're booking now, they may not be able to put cover in place now, because this strike is already in the offing. Okay,
so if you were taking out travel insurance now, for example, and people don't always take out travel insurance at the time of booking, they sometimes do it just before they travel.
Yeah, so if you're taking it out, we would always advise people to do it at the time of booking for that very, very reason, because you just don't know what's going to happen.
So insurers, I'm sure, are looking at this going, I'm not giving you strike insurance at this point when there's about to be a strike.
So if you are taking it out now, just check with the insurer to make sure that if they are including it or not. Now, there is other consumer protection in place. The best place to have a look at that is the Irish Aviation Authority website, which is IAA.ie, and they have a very good consumer rights section on that. And that will go through exactly what that EU legislation covers. So if your flight is cancelled less than 7 days, between 7 days and 2 weeks, and then over 2 weeks, exactly what the protections are. And it also depends on what options you choose. So the airlines have to give you an option of a rerouting at the closest possible time, or rerouting at a later date, or a full refund. So depending on which option you choose and how much notice you've got, that will determine whether or not compensation is due to you.
Suppose, and I think a lot of people do book things themselves. They book flights, they book accommodation, and that accommodation may well be lost to them if they've booked a non-refundable form of accommodation and they don't turn up. The accommodation people have no obligation to give them that money back. But supposing you're in that position, you've booked your holiday home or your hotel or whatever it is, and you're going to lose that money. So you want the rerouting. How does rerouting work, Clare? Particularly if there's a shortage of flights out there, if lots and lots of flights have been cancelled.
I mean, it's not going to be easy. That's no doubt about that. If you have booked with an ITAA travel agent, then they will do all that for you. And there is other EU protection in place with Package Travel Directive, that if you've booked with a travel agent, they will look after all of that for you. But back to the other area, if you haven't done that, then Aer Lingus have some contingency plans in place. They have arranged some wet lease aircraft, which means that they'll hire in aircraft fully crewed, and they will also have arrangements with their partner airlines. Unfortunately, though, as we know, it's the busiest time of the year, and they can't fully put those plans in place until they know exactly when the industrial action is going to happen.
Are you saying, Clare, and maybe I'm misunderstanding, that Aer Lingus are going to break the picket line, as it were, metaphorically, as in they're going to hire in crewed aircraft?
They will operate.
So even though the Aer Lingus crews might be on strike, the Aer Lingus might still be actually flying in the air.
Still be able to operate some of the flights. Now, some of the flights,
that'll go down like a lead balloon with Aer Lingus staff.
Absolutely, yeah. And they will also make arrangements with partner airlines. I mean, they are, as you know, part of IAG, so they will have arrangements with BA and American Airlines and Iberia, and they probably will have arrangements with other partner airlines as well to take up space on those aircraft if they can. But however, they can't do that until they know the dates involved.
So from what I'm hearing, we don't know much at the moment. We don't know when this will exactly play out, and we don't know exactly how this will play out either. And all people can do is check out their own rights, and maybe now in advance look at their insurance if they have it in place already, and then kind of hope for the best. It's an awful lot of stress for people on what is, for most families, the biggest outlay they have of the year.
It's a huge stress, and that's why we're calling on Aer Lingus and the IALPA and the pilots to get together. As we know, disputes are always resolved, and we're asking them to resolve it sooner rather than later. Get together, get back together. As we know, they're not in talks at the moment. Get back together and resolve it, because, you know, the travelling public, and it's not just holiday makers that are being disrupted now. You know, it's business travellers who travel every day. They're vital to the economy of the country. And then there's a lot of incoming people. I mean, Aer Lingus is a huge airline for people travelling
so the
from the
knock-on
States
effects
to
on
Europe.
tourism here is huge, but also people travel for all kinds of sad reasons as well, to see sick relatives.
Absolutely.
There is such a thing as essential travel. Look, thank you, Clare. I know you haven't exactly reassured people, but you've, I suppose, equipped them what they need to do. Look at your insurance, look at your rights, and I suppose watch this space. Thank you very much for joining us, though, this morning. That is Clare Dunne, their CEO of the Irish Travel Agents Association.